Welcome to the podcast of St. Basil the Great Catholic Church in Brecksville, Ohio, with homilies, talks, and interviews relevant to your Catholic faith. God bless you and enjoy. Welcome back to the St. Basil podcast. Today on the podcast, we have a very exciting episode. I would like to welcome Hailie Jester to the podcast.
Yay, thank you.
Today we are going to be talking about pilgrims and pilgrimages and the heart of a pilgrim. And Hailie is with us because she is doing some mentorship for the lay ecclesial ministry program. And so she's working with Tommy and I and just kind of seeing what we do here. Because what parish are you from?
St. Charles Borromeo in Parma.
Absolutely. And if you guys don't know, both Father Liptak and Father Ryan Father Liptak is from there. That's his home parish. And then Father Ryan was there for one of his assignments before he came to us here at St. Basil. So we're very familiar with St. Charles and the St. Charles Way, and we're so glad to have you here at St. Basil, getting to show you some things that we do, how we do it, to help your ministry, but then also here on the podcast today. So, Hailie, when you said that you wanted to come and shadow Tommy and I, one of the things I said so quick was, would you be on the podcast?
Yeah.
Because Hailie just recently went to the canonization of our two newest saints. I almost said Blessed Carlo, but he's not a blessed anymore. No. He's been a blessed for a long time, but he's now St. Carlo Acutis and St. Pier Giorgio Frassati. And that was, when was that again?
September 7th. That's when the canonization mass took place. So
yeah, and the week that we're recording this, we just celebrated St. Carlo's first feast day as a saint. And so it's just a really exciting time to kind of reflect on him and his life and then hear about pilgrimage and what that is and what that means, how that's a part of our faith, and then also just the experience from someone of what was the canonization like and how was it? So what made you decide to go to the canonization? How did that come about?
Yeah, so well, I felt really called to go to Carlo's canonization back in April. And just with my own work schedule and everything like that, I just couldn't make it happen. And I was bummed about it. I've loved Carlo since the moment that I heard about him. There's something so special about him because he would be, a little bit older than us. So he's just so relatable. There was something about him that just drew me in. And so I wanted to go back in April. Couldn't make it happen. Then Pope Francis, our, dear Pope, may he rest in peace, passes away and the canonization gets moved. And I'm like, okay, I kind of felt like I was supposed to go in April and it just wasn't working, and that's fine. I just accepted it. And then they announced that it would be September 7th. And I was like, I actually didn't hear about it initially. My core team, I woke up the morning that they announced it, and my core team at St. Charles blew up the group text, and they were like, Hailie, canonizations are September 7th. You have to go. We'll move youth group, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what? Like, this is crazy. Well, my birthday is the 8th, September 8th. So it just felt like, wow, like I'm feeling called now even more so to go to Rome for the canonizations. And it was kind of last minute, to be honest. It was kind of a spontaneous thing. Went to Rome with the purpose and intention of going to the Mass. And then anything beyond that was just an extra gift. So
that is so cool. Yeah. And I think something about pilgrimage that people have said to me before is you don't just decide to go on a trip. Pilgrimage is not a trip. It's not a vacation.
Right.
There's a big distinction between a vacation to Italy, to Rome, and a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And someone had told me right before, especially before I went to Medjugorje, someone said, you don't just go to Medjugorje, you're called to go there. And it was that same kind of feeling of, I have always felt, I've always known that I was supposed to go to Medjugorje someday. And I went and just had some incredible graces there through pilgrimage. So I think that's really important for the listeners to understand, I would love to go to Rome again because I absolutely love Rome. But there's a big difference between me being called on pilgrimage to go to Rome and me going on vacation to Rome.
Yeah.
And that attitude of pilgrimage also just changes the way that you travel, right?
It does, certainly, yes.
And it changes, like, the way that you respond to situations of things that, like, just aren't quite going your way and expectations that you have for this trip. Like, I mean, if I was going to Rome, I spent a semester in Rome, so I, like, really am like, oh, I have all these places I would want to go. But on pilgrimage, you might not have a chance to do all those things. So was there any, like, unexpected twists and turns that the Lord brought you through in this trip?
Sure, of course. I mean, I went in knowing, okay, I've got 6 days. So the goal was the canonization mass, and then anything else extra was just like an extra bonus and added gift. So I love Carlo, and his tomb is in Assisi. And so the way that it worked out is we flew in, I was there Friday morning, had the day Friday there, and then Friday evening, the idea came about to go to Assisi the next day to visit Carlo. I've been to Assisi before, when I've been on pilgrimage before, and I just loved it. And so it would have been great to go back, and especially to see Carlo. I just like felt like a particular call to go there. So woke up really early Saturday morning. I'm not a morning person. I'm a night owl. So that is like a sacrifice in and of itself. So woke up super early, got to the train station. It's about a 2.5 hour train ride from Rome to Assisi. And we get our train tickets. You know, we're chilling. I got 2 shots of espresso, a croissant. I mean, like, yes, it's a pilgrimage, but in that moment I was living large. So I get our things, and you know, there's a board, like a departure and arrival board, just like at the airport, and it says Assisi, track 2, and then it says 2 EST. We're like, 2 estimated? That's kind of what that's what we were all thinking. And so
because they speak English in Italy.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, we know what that means. 2 EST, 2 estimated. And so we're looking at track 2. There's no train. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're not getting on it in 5 minutes because it's literally not here. So, you know, it's getting closer to the time when we're supposed to leave the train station. And we end up going up to somebody and just asking, you know, our train was supposed to be here and it's not here. And this nice lady looked at us and she goes, yeah, that 2 EST means 2 east. So you need to book it like about half a mile down the train station. We're looking at the time, and she's like, you won't make it. They're doing their final stuff. You won't make it. And I was like, okay. And in that moment, Cari, like, I could have been just super upset. And I think, honestly, if I was just being really honest about, like, my day-to-day life, like, if I was really looking forward to something and then all of a sudden, like, plans shifted because of something that, like, I did or didn't do in this case, maybe I would have reacted in a different way, but it was literally just the grace of God that I was able to just be like, I looked at the people I was traveling with and I said, something really good has to happen today. There has to be something. There's a reason why we're not going to Assisi. And that really just like speaks to the mentality of the pilgrim, of just, you don't know how the journey's going to go. Unexpected things are going to come up in the journey that, you know, aren't going to go as you would have wanted them to go. And it's so synonymous with our lives of like, we are pilgrims on a journey going home, and sometimes things happen that we would rather not happen, right? Or they don't go the way that we hoped for them to go. But it's really God's grace that helps us to like shift our mindset and see like the beauty and the truth of He's going to pull goodness out of this seemingly tough, disappointing situation. And He did. So later that day, Pope Leo had a Jubilee audience, which he like has not had, you know, for his papacy.
Crazy.
Yeah. On a Saturday. And I had a friend text me, hey, something's going on at St. Peter's. I mean, Cari, I got back after this, and I was like, I am going to take a nap, though, because
it was quite early.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't taking a nap because I had 2 shots of espresso, and God had other plans for me because, just getting dressed real quick and, going to St. Peter's and just had like a super close encounter with Pope Leo, which was so beautiful. And that's the reason that we didn't go to Assisi that day. So it was so cool to see like the disappointment, but then also like the beauty and the goodness and the surprise that came from the unexpected. I had no idea that would happen that day, to have that encounter with Pope Leo. So it was really just such a gift.
Yeah. And I think we can all, exactly what you said, I think we can all take from that and understand a little bit more. How can we incorporate the theology, the attitude of a pilgrim into our own life? Of, this is not the way I wanted this to go. Okay, well, what else can be in store for today?
Right.
Because I think it is so much easier, and I don't know if you would agree, but like when you're on pilgrimage, to be like, well, this is pilgrimage, so something else, something better, something else is happening.
Yeah.
So, but in our daily life, like the disappointment of plans canceled or just things breaking, not working, who knows what it could be. But taking those experiences and saying, okay, God, what else do you have in store? Because something else must be happening today.
Yeah, the whole pilgrim mentality for me, Cari, really started, it's so funny. My first pilgrimage I went on was in 2016 with Father Ryan.
Oh my gosh.
To Krakow, Poland. And the group at various points was just having a really hard time. And Father Ryan will still talk about, I just said the whole time, I'm a pilgrim. And like, I don't know why, but as a teenager, this like mentality just like spoke so much to my heart. I had no idea like what that would mean, in my life going forward. But this, but I'm willing to share, like, I lost my mom unexpectedly in 2020. And so like that reality of that we are all pilgrims. We're going home. St. Therese of Lisieux says, the world is thy ship, not thy home, right? We're going somewhere else. We're made for more, and we're made for heaven. And so it's so beautiful to see how that like pilgrim mentality for me has even changed and become just more big and beautiful as I've grown and as I've experienced different really unexpected things in my own life. We're all called to something more.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing your heart with us. And I think people can see now, like, yes, we actually have just had a group go on pilgrimage here at St. Basil, and we are going to hear about their pilgrimage. But when Hailie said that she was going to come, I was like, I know Hailie has a pilgrim heart above, like, more than a lot of people that I know, even more than, like if I was going on pilgrimage and talking about it, you like really embody pilgrim in and through your life. And so hearing from it, hearing about the canonization is also so awesome and cool, but like helping us to understand the pilgrim mindset, the pilgrim heart, and sharing that with our parish is a great gift to us. So
thank you.
But, okay. So you had this time with Pope Leo, and you were able to just have this awesome experience because you were open to what more there is. And so the next day then, right, was the canonization.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Okay, well, it was crazy town.
Yeah.
So they estimate that about 80,000 pilgrims were there for the canonization mass. And, mass was at 10. I'm not an early bird. We already talked about this. We've addressed this. And so inevitably, again, like I just fall. The morning of the canonizations, I sleep in, not intentionally. And I was like set to leave my place at 6, end up leaving at 6:45. You wouldn't think that was a big deal. I open my curtain before I leave, and there's just like floods of people, Cari. And I'm like, oh no, like I've blown everything. Like this is just not, it's just not going to be good for me. So my whole mindset going in was, I just want to get into St. Peter's. I don't need to see, I just want to hear, and I want to be inside the square. And so, yeah, I got in line and I saw where I had to go, and I was like, there's just absolutely no way I'm getting there. And I ended up running into friends, which is insane.
Yeah.
We went in a different entrance. We ended up getting seats, which was also just like a major gift. And yeah, you know, Cari, our world is so obsessed with people, and I get it. Like Taylor Swift, the athletes. I don't get that as much, but people love them, you know?
Yeah.
And we're so obsessed with people and going to concerts and sporting events and this and that. And I think from the outside, the canonization mass could look very similar, right? I wore my Carlo t-shirts, you know, I waited in a big line to get in. I traveled, you know, a far
Many
way
miles,
to get there, right? And from the outside, I think it could look very similar to the world. But the reality is when I was there, you're just swept up into the reality of the call. And the call is really that we're all called to be saints. And that desire for holiness and truth and goodness and beauty is written on the human heart. And so, more than ever before, it was just like on display before my eyes. And this something that's so cool is that in the mass, like we all got to participate. Like Carlo's family was there, Pier Giorgio's family was there, and to be able to watch it right there before, but then also to partake, right? Mass isn't something that we go and just watch like on a stage, right? But we get to be participants in it. And for me, it just like sparked the question of like, how many times have I thought about sainthood or my own call to sainthood and encouraged people, but how many times have I not even believed that for myself? Like, I know all these great people in my life, surely they're called to be saints, but I don't know about me. Like, is that really the reality? And for the first time, it was so, sainthood was so, it felt so attainable and tangible right there. You know, they have these huge banners of the saints when they're being canonized. So Pier Giorgio's on one side and Carlo's on the other. And it was so funny because I'm sitting there and I'm like, we're all made to be up on the banner. Like we're all made for this, for something greater. Which just, again, goes back to that pilgrim heart of like Pier Giorgio and Carlo, they were incredible pilgrims. They walked the walk, they talked the talk, they lived authentically, but in a very ordinary way, right? In a beautiful way. And what that mass was is, yes, a celebration of they're in heaven, they can pray for us, but also a celebration of what they've done. What they've done with their lives, and the reality that their lives draw us closer to the heart of the Father. And just being able to be swept up into that was beautiful. So
yeah, and I think that those two men in particular, being the saints being canonized, they so, at least to me, like even not being there, of the saints that I know and like talk to and pray to often, those two are some of the most normal people. And just, again, pointing out like sainthood is attainable. Pier Giorgio died when he was 24. And he, like when you read the stories about him, he was just a really good friend. Like above all else, like he cared for the poor very, very deeply. He helped anyone that was in need, and like he would like run home because he gave someone their bus fare or his bus fare, so that they could get something to eat, and he would just run home instead to make sure that, you know, he was home in time for dinner. But also when you read the stories, like he climbed the mountains with his friends and he challenged his friends in their faith, and like to me he really shows like this is like the importance of being a good friend. Being a good friend means that you're bringing your friends to sainthood. And Carlo also, I'm sure, was a good friend, but we hear more about Carlo with his family and being a saint for him was transformational for his family. And you got to see them there, be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of his parents were there, and then something that was so cool was that he has twin siblings. When Carlo was alive, he was an only child. His mother longed for more children, but struggled with infertility. And after Carlo passed, she prayed and asked for more children, and she really attributes she then was blessed with twins 4 years after Carlo's passing, and she really attributes to that to Carlo praying for her and knowing that desire of her heart. I mean, as a 15-year-old boy, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
But yeah, his younger brother read one of the readings, and his parents and those two siblings brought the gifts up at Mass, which was beautiful, right? Happening right before my eyes. So.
And to know, like, these people are alive and well, and sainthood is attainable and accessible for us. Like, we are not just going through the motions of the Catholic life for ourselves. We're going through them to be saints and to bring our families, our friends, all those that we know and meet and love to sainthood. And that's why we do this. It's not just this, this thing I do on Sunday. It's a life. It's a lifestyle, becoming a saint.
Yeah, and we see that so clearly through Pier Giorgio and through Carlo, just in those little choices that they made in their really ordinary lives. They ended up just being really beautiful and extraordinary. And like you were saying, Cari, just drew others to his Sacred Heart through their lives and through their witness. And I think that if we respond to the call of being pilgrims ourselves, we can really draw other people in the same way or a similar way as Pier Giorgio and Carlo did to the heart of the Father, and fall in love more with him ourselves, which is what we're made for.
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the other questions that we're all wondering is, what was the best meal you ate while you were there?
Oh my gosh, well.
Because saints do have to feed and nourish their bodies, both spiritually and then obviously pasta, pizza, gelato. You're while in Rome,
right,
literally.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, thanks so much for asking the most important question. I don't know where I was when I had this, some little Italian restaurant, of course, but it was like fresh pasta, bolognese sauce. That was delicious. But I have to say, that came to mind readily. But now that I'm just like sitting in it a little bit more, there was this little pizza shop just like off the beaten path that the seminarians that go to the North American Pontifical College, the seminarians or the priests that go there, they're regulars. They go there readily once a week, I hear. And yeah, we went there for pizza, and it was just like, was made right there, was delicious, super fresh. And then the best gelato flavor I had, Cari, there was like a lemon cream gelato, which was a special Jubilee Pilgrims of Hope flavor. I know. You could only imagine my reaction when I saw it in the gelato shop. I was like, this feels like it's for me. So I had it, and it was incredible.
That's so amazing. Oh my gosh. I wish I could taste that right now.
I know.
Maybe someday. Well, yeah, so as we kind of close up, you mentioned the Jubilee year, and we're kind of coming to a close on this Jubilee year of hope that Pope Francis kind of started off to us. And so in the Jubilee, we're really focusing on hope and this hope that the Lord brings us. And so what is something that, just one more thing from the canonization, the pilgrimage, whatever, that really stuck out to you as bringing hope?
Wow. Something at the canonizations, which was similar to experiences I've had at World Youth Day, is just there are people from everywhere. Our church goes beyond just our parish. It goes beyond our diocese, beyond our country. It's all throughout the world. It's universal. So there's so much hope in that God can reach all of us in our uniqueness, in our differences, and bring us together again through that universal call to holiness. And I think that's a reason to hope that all those people that we love, even the people that we don't know, like, we are called universally to holiness, to sainthood. So that was a great sign of hope. But as you were talking, Cari, it just reminded me something huge that the Lord has been bringing up for me in prayer over the past couple of years has been light shining in the darkness. And I was just at various places in Rome, and you'd walk in and the church would be kind of dark and light would be coming through, or like rays of light, were used up by the crucifix or by the tabernacle or something, by the altar. And like, that is also the reality, that light is piercing through to the darkness that really sometimes feels like it overwhelms the world. The divine, the Lord, is piercing through at all times, trying to woo us, trying to grab our attention and point us to him. And I think that's a reason to hope too. The reality is that he is in reckless pursuit of our hearts, that the light does shine in the darkness, and that is a reason to hope. He's always going to bring goodness, even out of things that are really dark and hard. And so that's a reason to hope, Cari.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are so thankful for you being here, for you sharing your story, the story of the canonization, our reason to hope. And yeah, just inspiring us towards sainthood. And it is in those little everyday actions that we continue to do, that we lead others to the yeses, the choices that we make to have the pilgrim heart, to respond to disappointments, difficulties with the heart of a pilgrim, that bring us to sainthood. So Hailie, thank you so much for being here. It was such a blessing and a pleasure to have you. And everyone at St. Basil's, we hope that you have a blessed and wonderful day.
Thank you.
We hope this podcast blessed you. If something touched your heart, we encourage you to take it to prayer. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to be notified of future podcasts, and feel free to share it with a friend. We would love to keep in touch at basilthegreat.org. Until next time, St. Basil the Great, pray for us.